Hola chicos y bienvenidos. Estoy muy alegre que ustedes están escuchando estas notas. Bueno, chicos, here we go. So, today on the docket we are looking at, as you can see here, verbs with irregular yo forms. So we've actually learned quite a few specific types of verbs. So we started off with regular AR verbs, then ER and IR verbs, and the regular ones. We knew a few completely irregular verbs after that, like ser and a star, for a little bit different. And then we worked on stem changers, so with the vowel, the second to last vowel changing. So, without further ado, we're going to learn irregular yo form. So that's basically meaning that we are just going to change the yo form, and then the rest follows normal, or the rest follows a regular stem change. You'll see some of those. Alright, in Spanish, several verbs have irregular yo forms in the present tense. Yep. Alright, so you've already seen verbs with the go ending as the yo form. When we just learned, you maybe don't remember it a lot, but it'd be good to know decir, digo. This is a high frequency verb, you're gonna need to know this eventually. Tener, we learned very early on. If I asked you, ¿Cuántos años tienes? You would hopefully say, yo tengo. Alright, and then venir, we learned with tener because they're very similar. Venir would be vengo. Hopefully this is like, oh yeah, I remember that, or you already knew it before I even said it. Alright, so decir, we did just introduce it with the notes last time, so I would like you to know some expressions. Here's some good ones. Decir la verdad, to tell the truth. And then on the opposite would be decir mentiras. Tell the truth, tell lies. Decir que. So to say that, yo digo que ustedes están super excelentes. Right? And then decir la respuesta. To say the answer, as you can see there. These would be good ones to know, at least be familiar with when you see it. Okay? Alright, so the verb hacer, it's a big one. It means to make or to do. Hopefully you already knew that since it's a vocab word. It is often used to ask a question about what someone does. Obviously, what are you doing? Your mom probably asks you that all the time, or someone anyway in your life. When answering, hacer is frequently replaced with a more specific action verb, because you might not always say, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. You'll say, I'm playing basketball, I'm running, whatever you're doing, studying. Okay, so that's a lot of words to just say. You might ask what someone's doing, but they might not even use that same verb. But it makes sense in context, so don't worry too much about that. Here's the conjugation. So, hacer, yo hago, tú haces, usted hace, nosotros hacemos, vosotras hacéis, and then ellas, ellos, ustedes hacen. So notice it's an ER verb, so everything besides that yo is regular. Haces, hace, and so on and so forth. Like you normally just chop your ending off and add your regular endings. If you wrote HACO, that's wrong. It doesn't. I can't give you a super specific reason why this happens. It happens in English. Irregularities are very common in any language, but there's not necessarily a rhyme or reason. The next one is poner. Your irregular is pongo. Pones, pone, ponemos, ponéis, ponen, regular. Salir, salgo, irregular, and then the rest is regular. Notice it's an IR verb, so we're also going to have this be salimos and salís. Remember, that is the only difference between ER verbs and IR verbs. Regular ER, regular IR verbs. Suponer, to suppose. Supongo. If you notice this verb poner, oh, we just did that one. If you see a verb within a verb, well, the conjugations are going to be similar. So if you ever see that, like detener, that'll be the same. You need to worry about those, but if you see it, you should be able to recognize, oh, I know this one that's in there, so it makes it easier for you. So supongo, and the rest are regular endings. traer, traigo, traes, trae, traemos. Traer is an ER verb, so we have our ER endings here, except for this irregular yo. So notice all of the irregular yos end in go. So that'd be something to be very familiar with as you practice your Spanish. All right, so working on poner specifically. So as we see here, we know it as to put or place, but it can also mean to turn on. Carlos, a household appliance specifically. Carlos pone la radio. He turns on the radio. Maria pone la televisión. She turns on the TV. Something to notice, if you ever watch a movie or something in Spanish, you'll probably see that. All right, working on salir. Salir de. What does de mean again? Hopefully you just said of or from. Something like that. Salir de is used to indicate that someone is leaving a particular place. Hoy salgo del hospital. Today I leave the hospital. In English, you maybe would say I leave from the hospital. That kind of makes the two languages make sense in your brain maybe. If not, just ignore that. Sale de la clase a las 4. He leaves class at 4. So, yeah, salir de means leave from. Salir para is used to indicate someone's leaving to or for a particular place. So you'll get to por and para specifically in Spanish 3 a little bit more, but para has like a destination connotation to it. So I'm headed towards. Mañana salgo para México. Tomorrow I leave for Mexico. Hoy salen para España. Today they leave for Spain. We are not by any means asking you to be experts on these things, but we want you to be aware of them. Like, what is the difference? Because they do have widely different meanings. Salir, last one, con, means to leave with someone or something or to date. So, Alberto sale con su mochila. So he's leaving with his backpack. We already know con means with, so that just naturally makes sense. But Margarita sale con Guillermo. So she's going out with Guillermo. They're seeing each other, all right? Daters. All right, so these ones are a little bit different. We just finished up the go verbs, as we'll talk about them. Here's the last look again at all of them. You'll need to know these. And now these two, ver and oír, are just a little bit different. Ver has an irregular yo form, and the other ones are regular. Do we know this one already? I think some of you do. Veo. So it's like super close to regular. But if it was truly regular, you'd chop off the ending, which is that ER, and you'd write V and O. It just doesn't really sound like it would make sense. So veo, and then ves, ve, vemos, veis, ven. Notice there's no accent here. And now oír means to hear. Also has an irregular yo form, and you will follow a pattern you've already seen. And it also has a spelling change, I to Y. So this one's really irregular. Also has that irregular yo. So this one you might need a little extra practice. So it has that Y stem change with the tú, usted, él, ellos, él, ella, ustedes, ellos, and ellas forms. So the nosotros and vosotros, they have an accent mark. We'll go through these, write these down for me. So the yo is completely irregular, just like before, oigo. So it's a go, like what we call a go verb. Tú oyes, él y usted, oye, oímos, oís, oyen. So it's kind of a boot verb because these guys change, except the yo form is completely irregular yo, but everybody in the normal boot changes as before. Stem changers, nosotros and vosotros, do not change. Well, most commonly translated as to hear, oír, is also used in contexts where we might use to listen in English. So, oigo a unas personas en la otra sala. I hear some people in the other room. ¿Oyes la radio por la mañana? Do you listen to the radio in the morning? I won't worry about being an expert on this too much, but it's definitely good for you to be aware of that. All right, now is your time to shine. Go ahead, go through these, refer back to your notes so you can do these. Remember, some of these are just irregular yo. So with the other persons, tú, él, ellas, etc., you're going to conjugate normally, or you're going to conjugate with a stem change. You're going to need to memorize these. So salir, we have Isabel sale, nosotros. Remember, it's an IR verb, I'll tell you that. And then we have that yo form, I'll tell you that one's irregular. All right? So after you finish this, be sure to click on that slide, go through the answers. Do not cheat yourself. This is not for points, but if you're even considering going on to the next level, it'll be important to be familiar with these. So don't cheat yourself, just do it. Fill them in and check your notes later. Adios!